My 20 female sisters, 28 female behavior towards my boyfriend, 21 male is horrendous. This is going to be long. I am warning you. I am angry. I am frustrated and I am shaking. I need to write it down and hear some advice. My sis is just so creepy towards my BF. I can't take it anymore. She was really spoiled by my parents when she was young because she was their first child. She always wants everything, and when we were little, she always used to steal my toys, books, clothes, etc. I was never allowed to touch any of her things, but she constantly stole my stuff and was always rude to me. My mom for some reason has always preferred her over me, and thus, most of the time, I was told to let it go. Due to this, I have lots of resentment towards her and I don't really like her. I am honestly sick of her behavior, and I just want some peace and quiet in my house. My mom called me 2 weeks ago, pleading to let my sis stay with me because she doesn't have a job right now and she can't stay alone during quarantine. Both my parents are high risk. My mom has heart problems and my dad is asthmatic. So I thought I should let her stay with me and my BF instead of letting her go to my parents in case she infects them. There's been a few cases where she is, so I didn't want to risk it. Now I am honestly starting to regret it. Her behavior is creepy and strange and downright disgusting. First of all, she doesn't respect me at all. She's constantly ignoring me while having long talks with my boyfriend. She doesn't leave my boyfriend alone. She flirts with him and constantly tries to touch him by using cheap tricks. When we watch movies, she pushes me away and tries to snuggle with my boyfriend. She slaps his butt when he walks by and loudly tells him how he has a perky little butt. She also runs her fingers through his hair every day saying, "Whoa, your hair is so soft," or some shit like that. What the duck? These are all just excuses to touch him. She just needs a chance. Another thing she does is ask him if he has abs so she can touch his torso. Or say, "Did you see this thing I lost? Maybe it's in your pocket. Let me see," and proceed to pat his thighs. One time she wanted help with hooking her bra and she just ducking walks out in her underwear. She came to our room and my boyfriend was in the bathroom. The logical thing to do is just ducking ask me I am her sister. But what does she do? She just waits for my boyfriend and asks him instead, even though I am sitting right there. I think I looked very upset because my boyfriend just told her no and she went back to her room. She didn't try that again. This is not even all. My boyfriend and I can't even talk to each other without her interrupting us. She barges into our room with no warning. A few days ago, we were trying to have sex and I don't know how the duck she realized it and starting banging on the door claiming to have a headache. I opened the door and asked her what was wrong. I told her I had pills for it, but she just said she doesn't trust me and she wanted to talk to my boyfriend instead. After disturbing us, she was suddenly completely fine and her headache disappeared miraculously. She just came into our bedroom and started talking to my boyfriend. We were literally half naked and there was no way she didn't know. This is driving me crazy. What does she want? Why is she like this? It's not like I didn't talk to her. I was so angry she interrupted us. Because she has been doing this since she came here. I was feeling horny and angry. I just told her to get out and that we needed some alone time. I don't want to go into details, but we had a small argument and she started crying. The thing is, she never accepts it. She's completely blind to what she's doing. She denies doing it and sheds tears, which ends up making me feel bad instead. My boyfriend is so uncomfortable by all of this. He just looks exhausted all the time. He's trying his best to be nice, but she's all over him all the time. He's usually very introverted, shy, quiet. He's not very confrontational and I know this is bothering him. When I talked to him about it, he just commented that it was a bad idea to invite her to stay here. He also said not to invite her ever again. I want to know why she is like this. How can I make her see what she's doing? I am done dealing with her. I don't want to see her ever again. But she's my parents' favorite child and no matter how hard I try, I can never escape her. Whenever I try to cut contacts with her, my mom calls me and begs me to forgive her. My mom doesn't want to see her daughters fighting with each other and she always says how she wants us to be together forever. But I can't do this. How am I supposed to deal with this? Can someone please tell me? My mom is always taking my sister's side in everything. And it's always me who has to be understanding and smart and older when I am the younger one here. Please tell me I am not overreacting. How do I make my mom and sister realize that I am sick of dealing with this? Too long didn't read. My sis tries to flirt with BF and keeps touching him all over the place. She doesn't accept that what she's doing is wrong and I am sick of her behavior. How do I deal with this? Kick her out. She is sexually harassing your boyfriend. You can't control what your parents do. They will probably take her in from what you said here. That's on them. If you push your relationship by keeping her in your house despite her making your boyfriend rightfully uncomfortable with behavior you clearly recognize is wrong, that's on you. If you are feeling super generous, I guess you could have a very frank conversation with her, preferably with your boyfriend in the room, that what she is doing is not only disrespectful of your relationship with your boyfriend but sexual harassment. Point out she is dumb enough that she is doing it in your house, and you will be forced to kick her out if she continues. But you are well within rights to just boot her ass now. Also keep in mind that her crying means nothing. She has learned that crying will get her what she wants. That's all. So, Your mother will still stand for your sister while she is way out of boundaries with your couple. How do you feel about kicking her out and stop this toxic relationship? Yeah, it will hurt, but you have no solution. Is there a way to send her home to your parents with zero interaction with the outside world to be sure it will be done safely? I just want her to be gone from my home. I am completely done with this, but I know she'll just start crying and begging until she gets what she wants. Then I'll have to be understanding as always. She is 28 and has no place to go, and is acting this bad with you. Absolutely kick her out. I wouldn't give her any more chances. Take care of yourself and your boyfriend. Good on you for being independent of your unsupportive parents. Second story. I 24 male adopted my little sister 8 female after our parents passed away. GF 23 female isn't so excited about it. English isn't my native language, so please excuse me if I make mistakes. Last month, when my parents were driving back from my uncle's house outside the city, they encountered a moose on a remote road in the forest. My father, who was the driver, swerved at a high speed and hit into a tree. They both died on scene, because it wasn't a very often used road. They were only discovered the next day by a passerby. My sister has been staying with my grandmother, who I am not a great fan of. She would hit me when I was a kid. Most of the time deservedly so, but also a lot of time unjustified. She said that she doesn't want to adopt my sister, so the next option was me. I agreed to it without question. We are very close, and in the end she's my family and I love her to the end of the world. My sister moved in with my GF and 2 weeks ago. Obviously she's very scarred from what happened to our parents. We were both very close to them and they were great people. She still doesn't really talk much. Only to me and sometimes my GF. We take her to therapy twice a week and there are improvements, even in such a short amount of time. Yesterday, after I stayed with my sister in her bed until she fall asleep, I went to my and my GF's room. She said that we have to talk about this situation. She said that we don't really have time for each other since my sister moved in. It's a fair point. We've only had sex once and that was when my sister was away. And even then I wasn't really into it at all. She said I should reconsider the adoption and maybe hand her over to my uncle and aunt. I refused. They're already busy as it is. My uncle isn't allowed to work because of a heart condition and because he didn't work long before being diagnosed. His disability fund isn't very big. My aunt works at a retirement home and that obviously doesn't pay great. They also pay for my cousin's university expenses while juggling taking care of my younger cousin, who's only 5. My GF is in her last year of university, so we don't have much money either. I luckily found a job after university in my field that pays pretty good, but it's been tough financially, though soon enough I will start receiving funds from the government for adopting my sister. My GF said that she isn't ready to become a mother and overall having all these responsibilities of a parent, which I can understand. It's tough and said that it's been putting a big strain on our relationship, which again is valid. Before, we'd get back from work and university and be off for the day. But now we have to pick my sister up from school, drive her to the therapist and also take care of her a lot when she's home. She doesn't like to be alone. I told her that while she makes valid points, all of that goes out the window when this is my sister. I can't just throw her away because it's not easy. It won't be easy and that I have to ride it out, but that she doesn't. It probably wasn't the right thing to say because it set her off. And she said that if I had to choose between my sister and her, who I would pick. I didn't answer and we got into a bit of a verbal fight, after which I went to sleep on the couch. And I kind of broke down from everything that has been going on lately. I should like to add that my GF and I've been together for 9 years. She knew my parents and they loved her. She also knows my sister from birth and I just can't understand how she could make me pick between them. I love both of them and I don't want to lose either of them. I think I need advice on what to do, or say with my GF, because I am at a loss. Edit. I also want to add, because people seem to think that I just suddenly took my sister without even talking to my GF. That's not the case. We talked at it at length and she said that we need to get her to come home to us, no matter what. That's why I was also really surprised as to what she had to say. Edit 2. I wanted to thank everybody for great advice too. And for everybody's condolences, even thought we're all strangers here. Seeing words of encouragement is great and actually impactful and helpful. Thank you. Update. I am taking my sister to therapy in a bit. After I get back home, my GF and I will talk about all this. Update 2. Okay. So we ended up talking about it for a while. And this is how it went down. At first my GF apologized profusely for the other night. She said she acted like a spoiled little shit and that it wasn't acceptable at all. I told her that I still love her the same even though what she said was hurtful. And that I understand it's a huge jump for her, and explained to her that she doesn't need to be a mother, just a friend or big sister to my sister, and that I don't want to push any responsibilities on her. And said that if she'd like to, we could both take a break from each other to process this. She refused and said she processed it and admitted that what she said was a result of everything changing so quickly, but she doesn't want or need a break because she realized she was in the wrong. She said that she regretted what she said almost immediately but thought that the damage was done. and that I will break up with her, and she was scared to approach me because of that. Next, she told me that she didn't mean to make me pick between them, and said herself that if someone posed her that question if she was in that situation, she would drop them, and was thankful for me withholding that decision until we had a talk about it. She said it arose from her feeling distanced from me, and jealousy that I was spending a lot of time with my sister but had to spend less with her as a result. She understands why though. It's necessary I take care of my sister while she's hurting, and said she wishes to help me with that as much as she can, and that she would like to help me get through this as well. She admitted that for the past 13 years, I've been her everything, and that for those 2 weeks she thought she's losing me. And it terrified her. But after talking about it with some of her close friends, she saw that she wasn't losing me. Just that a very important thing popped up in my life that had to be taken care of, and it was going to take a lot of my attention, which was previously focused mostly on her. She said that she wants me to know I can depend on her in terms of responsibility about my sister, and that she will do her best to be good to my sister. And I can see that. Compared to yesterday or the day before, my GF really tried with my sister today. Initiated conversations with her and helped her out with homework and picking out some clothes before going to the therapist today. It was as if seeing my GF go from being a child to an adult in a matter of a day. I also admitted some of my faults, such as neglecting her over the past few weeks. Although unintentionally, I realize it can have an impact on a person, also not really giving her that much of a say on the matter whether my sister will come here to stay. We came up with a few things, namely that we must definitely go to therapy sooner than later. She suggested leaving my sister with my aunt and uncle for a few hours over the weekend while we go and sort that out. And also that we need to be able to balance our time more efficiently, so we can have at least a bit more time to reconnect with each other. Then she told me that she's sorry for not helping me grieve or finding time to do that, and that our fight was a wake-up call for her not being supportive enough of me through what happened recently, and that she will do whatever she can to make up for her oversteppings recently. It was at this point that the whole entire month hit like a train. I cried a lot while she was hugging me and giving me words of reassurance and comfort through the whole thing, while allowing me to release what I've been holding on to this past month. This was my GF as I knew her. A very caring person, and I really hope that what she showed 2 days ago wasn't her real face as people are saying, but merely a reaction stemming from insecurity. But I guess only time can tell that. I think it was a positive thing to do, and obviously there's still tons more where that came from, but it's a step in the right direction. When I came back home with my sister, we all played cards, and I just felt like we were a family. It's a good feeling. As of the time that I am writing this, I put my sister to sleep, and today she didn't take much time to fall asleep at all. She pretty much drifted off after a forehead kiss and some cuddling. I am in the living room on the couch right now. My girlfriend is taking a shower, and we're planning to watch a movie together. And honestly, I am thankful to everyone who gave me advice over the past few hours. I don't think I could have kept a level head so much if so many haven't had offered different points of view and sound advice. One thing I learned from this ordeal is that communication, especially in times of stress like this, is vital. And that before making important decisions, it's good to talk to your partner and see if they maybe have an explanation for what they did, but also being ready for the worst. I went into the conversation with my GF being ready to break up if her view hadn't changed, because like it or not, for the time being my sister is a priority, and I think that 2 days ago my GF didn't understand why and couldn't accept it. But after talking to her, and explaining why I have to take care of my sister like this, she now understands and accepts it. Once again, thanks to everyone who offered advice. And while this is a great community, I hope I am never in a position difficult like this where I have to ask for advice, although who knows what will happen. Update. Hey people. It's been a while since my original post, and I have some free time today and not much to do with it, so I am gonna write this. Why not? A lot happened since my first post. In the end, my GF, now ex I guess, couldn't deal with the fact that I had a new priority. I admit that I wasn't the best at managing time between them two, and I would spend a lot more with my sister than my GF, but I think that's understandable. Maybe. In general, my GF was on and off with my sister. One day she would be the nicest person to her, and the other would completely blow her off and be borderline mean. I had a few talks with her that it needs to stop, but it would only end up working for maybe the rest of the week, and the next it would be back to square one. About 3 weeks ago it erupted into a big argument. She accused me of not loving her anymore, and that I play favorites. I told her they're not my children to be playing favorites, and that obviously for some time my sister is gonna need a lot more attention, since you know she lost her parents. In the end, she went back to her ultimatum. Sister or her. I was angry at this point, because she has been mean to my sister that day. And I told her she can pack her shit and find a place to sleep tonight. I haven't seen her since, and quite frankly I don't really want to. We texted for a bit, basically both sides confirming it's over and arranging when she can come for the rest of her stuff. As for my sister, she's a lot better. She doesn't stay in her room all day anymore, and she's slowly going back to her talkative old self. She still doesn't like being alone, but it was the same before the accident. So since my GF moved out, we've been sharing a bed for comfort. She still wakes up at night crying sometimes, so it's better when I am there, and frankly it's a lot more comfortable. One thing I really regret is my sister heard that whole fight and she started apologizing to me for breaking me and my GF up. I assured her it's not her fault at all, and if anything she helped me see for who my GF really was. She still goes to her therapist and it's really helped a ton. She doesn't need me to be there while she falls asleep and doesn't panic when I go to the shop for 15 minutes. All in all, these past 3 months have been the hardest time in my life, but eye-opening to my ex's disregard for my family and kind of me too. Sorry for no happy ending. I guess this is how real life is. Edit 2. I would love to thank everybody for kind words individually, but with this amount it's crazy. So I want to give everyone who gave me advice and kind words a huge thank you to everybody. You're all amazing. These numbers are overwhelming and I can't even express in words how it feels that so many people care. It's really something else. Didn't expect that strangers on the internet could make me cry either. So once again, a huge thank you. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.